The number of youths incarcerated as a result of drug use and abuse in Nigeria is increasing by the day.
And quite worrisome. This shows that there is a strong link between drug abuse and crime. Recently, the Lagos State Commissioner of Police, Edgal Imohimi, led a team to a dump site where drugs worth more than 40 million naira were destroyed.
Yes, indeed.
Yes,
he is in the studio with us to discuss the war against drugs and plans to ensure a safer Lagos. You want to stick around to find out what the, relatively new CP has in store for us. Good morning and thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
On TVC Breakfast. Yes, happy new month. In this part of the world, we do say happy new month. Okay, so, congratulations first off on your appointment as CP. It would be in order to do that. Now, you seem to have hit the ground running as soon as you became CP. Arrest of DPOs and, who were involved in some corruption allegations, bribery and all of that, to storming shrines. Many people thought that was a bit bold of you.
He's been quite busy.
You really have been quite busy.
Yes.
Talk to us about how it's been so far. Well,
it has been challenging. But the good thing is that the strategy, my policing plans, which are based on the philosophy of community policing and community safety partnership, that strategy is working. The feedback I'm receiving, the crime statistics show that it is working. Like you said, I really hit the ground running. We have done, I have personally done 11 town hall meetings across the state. And these town hall meetings have been well attended and have sold my policing plan and strategy to the people. And there's closer synergy now between the police and the people. Because as the police, we have realized that we cannot do it alone. We need to partner with the people. This partnership is working across the state.
And what kind of, you said it's working, but have you been able to make more progress since you've done that? Because, of course, negotiations know that you've met with even leaders of Ikorodu Road and you've busted many crime dens there and across Lagos as well. So how receptive have negotiations been to you in office?
Very receptive, very receptive. In fact, it started with the town hall meetings. The attendance was huge. The quality of people that came to was impressive. And ever since then, we have been forming partnerships.
Okay.
There's a greater inflow of information. Most of these jobs you're talking about, the discovery of the shrines, the busting of cult groups and gangs, they are all as a result of this partnership. They are based on credible intelligence from members of the public.
Of course, we'll come to the issue of drug abuse among young people, which we know you're very passionate about. You've been doing a lot in that area. But I want to dig out some more. Like now, this 11 town hall meetings that you've had across the state, what and what, in specific terms, have you been hearing from the people that is the major challenge when it comes to tackling security or the problem of insecurity in Lagos?
Yes. I mean, across the states, it was almost the same complaint. That, Commissioner, you need to help us fight this issue of cult-related violence and drug abuse. The truth is that most of our neighborhoods and communities have been taken over by peddlers, drug dealers, and our youths are having easy access to drugs. And of course, you know the correlation, the correlation between drugs and crime. That is where my own concern comes in. Drugs embolden these youths and cause them to carry out criminal activities
Cross the blood lines.
That otherwise they wouldn't do. So that's the major complaint and concern, we have since gone into partnership with the people to try to bring down to the barest minimum incidents of cult-related violence, cultism in our neighborhoods, and also go after drug dealers, drug peddlers, wherever they might be in the state.
Okay, so are you, or is the police in Lagos State Police Command in partnership with NDLEA, especially with this anti-drug
Of course. In fact, yesterday, the commander NDLEA Lagos State led his principal officers to my office. He paid a courtesy visit. And we sat together, we first ironed out some gray areas, and then we now have an MOU. And we have agreed that no single agency can do it alone. Of course, you know the police, we have the spread and the manpower. NDLEA, they have, because that agency is statutorily established for this kind of, so they have more of the intelligence. So I'm sure our partnership will begin to yield more and more successes as we move forward. Okay,
now, will this partnership involve actually researching and trying to find out exactly what is at the root of this increase, this rise in drug abuse among young people? Why is it so accessible to them, you know, and all of that?
Of course. Of course, we have a department.
So it's not just a case of just, you know, shooting in the air and all of that?
No. Okay. You must actually try and find out why the sudden, unexplained crave for drugs of all types. We have a department, is the Research and Planning Department. In Lagos State Command, we have it at Odudua. And we have officers there, and that's the first assignment I've given to them, that they should reach out to communities that have these problems, have meetings, do questionnaires, and all that, and try as much as possible to find out when this phenomenon gained this disturbing level. Is it because cultism now took roots, that the young men, the cultists, now started looking or craving for drugs, or which came first? So I'm sure that will help to at least try to tackle this problem from the roots.
But it's important to note that not all cults, not all those that abuse drugs are cultists. Some just do it willy-nilly. And there are some areas in Lagos that are synonymous to drug abuse. That you could think of your head that if you go there, you could get access to drugs. And there is Bariga, there is Surulere. How many know this? So Shita Surulere especially. That is even it's even scary for anyone to collect any form of liquid in that area to just say you want to drink. That is dangerous for anyone there. So what efforts are you putting in place to man those grey areas, especially since they are like the hubs in Lagos?
Yeah, you know, like you said earlier, I'm passionate about this issue because why I'm very passionate is because if you look at the age catchment of young men now that are into this drug,
even ladies,
and even ladies, it's young teenagers, young teenagers. So I am passionate. I have identified. We have done the crime mapping. We have identified some of these places, including Akala and Mushi and other areas. And we have, as I speak, not only partnership with the leaders of those areas, we also have our intelligence department moving into those areas to try to get as much intel as we can get, because we are aware that these places have been known as drug havens for a while.
Of course, part of the strategy that we hear that you've put in place is to advise hotels, you know, public places, bars, clubs to install CCTVs. Yes. Are you going to go a step further by not only just advising them to install those so that you can actually, it can help in intelligence gathering? Are you looking at making it a law, maybe collaborating with the Lagos State government to ensure that it's actually a law, that public places have CCTVs?
Oh, definitely. Oh, definitely.
Putting in mind the Tagbo incident.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's high time a bill is sponsored by the state government in that regard. I can tell you for certainty that I've spoken about it with the executive governor of the state. Because these are basic some of these places, including Akala and Mushi and other areas. And we have, as I speak, not only partnership with the leaders of those areas, we also have our intelligence department moving into those areas to try to get as much intel as we can get, because we are aware that these places have been known as drug havens for a while.
Of course, part of the strategy that we hear that you've put in place is to advise hotels, public places, bars, clubs to install CCTVs.
Yes.
Are you going to go a step further by not only just advising them to install those so that it can help in intelligence gathering? Are you looking at making it a law, maybe collaborating with the Lagos State government to ensure that it's actually a law, that public places have CCTVs?
Oh, definitely. Oh, definitely.
Putting in mind the Tagbo incident.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's high time a bill is sponsored by the state government in that regard. I can tell you for certainty that I've spoken about it with the executive governor of the state. Because these are basic security gadgets
and
that
it's 21st century.
Yes, that I think establishments should have. It aids not only in investigation if incidents happen, it also helps the club owners and all that to monitor their establishments, to know, because I just held a meeting with the hospitality industry, hotels and all that, and we discussed that, and they have agreed to go in that direction and partner with me, and of course, I will pursue that. I definitely will pursue that.
There is the problem of codeine. It's very popular among youths now. In fact, some of our musicians sing about it so brazenly. Was there an effort really to maybe partner with NAFDAC to regulate drug institutions in the state, maybe the chemists, the pharmacists, and all the suppliers of medicals in the States?
I'm sure most of these agencies, they are listening to what we're talking about now. And I know that they will begin to take these issues more seriously. I think enforcement of regulations is key. It's very key here. In one of my press briefings, I mentioned that it's so easy now for youths and any person to get some of these drugs, cough syrups, codeine, across the counter, even without prescription. So yes, I could take it a notch further by writing to some of these agents to draw attention in that regard.
All right, let's move away from that a little. Let's come back to the issue of cultism. You gave the order recently of a shoot on site any cultist that is found to be armed. Don't you see any dangers in that?
No.
The possibility, of your men actually going overboard with that instruction.
No, the order was clear to my men. If you are a cultist, you are armed in a public place, and you're using those arms to threaten law-abiding Lagosians, and there is no other means through which you can be disarmed, then the police is legally permitted to make use of their firearms.
There should still be witnesses there to corroborate
definitely, it's a public place. Definitely. It's there in our force orders, 237, times when we can use our firearms. We are permitted to use to protect innocent citizens.
Yeah, but let's look at the conduct of your men. The conduct of your men. I saw a video on Instagram just yesterday about a young lady who said she was raped by a man. She reported the case at a police station. The man bribed police officers there. She reported at another police station. the man still bribed the police officers there, and she cried that she said she had to cry out to Nigerians to help bring the man to justice because the police has been bought over. And then nobody to report to anymore. That whenever she went to police stations, the man kept walking very free.
Yeah, it's good you've raised this issue, because this is also at the center of my own policing ideology, which is community policing and safety partnership. You will agree with me that you cannot have community policing and safety partnership if you don't win the trust and confidence of the people. So the first thing I did when I got on board here as Commissioner of Police was to set up a citizens complaint hot center. It's at the intelligence lab at Alausa. We set up that lab when I was the Assistant Commissioner of Police here. And we have 10 dedicated lines there. Those lines run 24/7. And we have people who are manning them who can take complaints in both Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo, and English. We have put those lines out in the public domain. We want the unprofessional conduct of our policemen to be reported. I've assured Lagosians in all town hall meetings that all they need to do is reach out to those lines, send SMSs, send WhatsApp messages, and once it gets to me, action will be taken.
What about social media presence?
Have you been getting responses from the public? How are they using it?
Definitely. We get it on daily basis.
Okay.
And we have a rapid response team attached to the center. So those that require immediate action, they call me and I say, move in immediately. We have been making arrests of our policemen.
You have been head of operations.
Yes.
Am I correct? I mean, under the last...
yes, I was the Deputy Commissioner of Police Operations.
Operations
yes.
in Lagos.
Lagos.
Yes.
I assume that you're familiar with Lagos, I mean, to a very large extent. We recall that when the kidnap happened in Ekpe, you did lead that, and of course the Bado gang, you know, and all of that in Lagos. That seems to have been quelled somewhat. Yes. What are the guarantees that it's going to stay that way, if not even improve, in terms of, you know, no more Bado gangs in Ikorodu or anywhere in Lagos? And then the real issue is your familiarity with Lagos. How will it help in your delivering at the end of the day as CP in Lagos?
Well, first of all, let's talk about the issue of crime in Ikorodu, Ekpe axis, and all that. I'll call for continued vigilance on the part of everybody. Don't forget that I've always said it, that community policing and safety partnership is based on partnership. Partnership is the key word. I have partnered with the people of Ikorodu and Ekpe axis. I've not only partnered with stakeholders, eminent persons there, I've also partnered with the informal policing sector, their local vigilante, the OPC, the Onyabo, groups like that that have grassroots intelligence and grassroots spread. So we are fighting this together, and that is why we are making a lot of successes. If you look at the crime statistics that we have, from January till about September, and you compare the crime statistics of September, October, you'll see clearly that there's a sharp drop in crime in the states. This shows that this strategy is working. And it encourages me to, of course, deepen the strategy across every part of the state. Now, in Lagos State, I have mandated DPOs to have local vigilante groups, attach armed policemen to them, to take care of residential robberies. Make sure Lagosians sleep with their eyes closed, especially between 12 and 5 a.m. These groups are efficient. They are working across the state, and if you can check the statistics, you see that residential robberies are on the decline. So definitely, and secondly, of course, the sheer fact that I've been in Lagos for a while, I have worked here as divisional police officer in divisions. I've been an area commander in Lion Building. I was the Assistant Commissioner of Police Operations, Deputy Commissioner of Operations, and by the grace of God, now the Commissioner of Police of the state.
How challenging is it to police a state like Lagos?
It's very challenging. It's a 24-hour business. It's a 24-hour business. You don't get to have time for yourself or even catch good sleep. Because your phones are always ringing.
Okay.
And that's why your eyes are always ringing.
and they are, really.
And they really are right now.
Well done. Okay, let's talk again about some of the actions of police officers in Lagos. Many, especially those that have tattoos now, harassed. I'm sure you've heard. In case you've not, it's a big challenge now to many Lagosians, even in Lagos State as well, and neighboring states. That they arrest people with tattoos that they would have to bill themselves with about 10,000 naira upward. Exactly. Wow. Every time the police officers even search their phones, and I witnessed that just yesterday at K2. They just parked their bus. They used an unmarked vehicle, accosted some boys, and started searching their pockets. Are these actions ordered by the Lagos State Command?
Definitely not. Definitely not. Those that know me know that I don't stand. I don't like unprofessional conduct, and I don't tolerate it. You see, and that was why my first action in the state was to set up that Citizens Complaint Hot Center. Within this short period, I've been Commissioner of Police, just about 2 months. We've arrested well over 20-something of our policemen who are undergoing various forms of disciplinary trials. It's not a thing of pride. It's not a thing of I'm not happy to state this, but like I told my men, we are constrained to do this because we must win the trust and confidence of the people for community policing and community safety partnership to take root. So I call on Lagosians to please avail themselves the platform of the Citizens Complaint Hot Center to report these few policemen who have refused to listen and imbibe discipline.
Okay, but of course, you give us that number before we end our discussion this morning. We want to, know what kind of follow-up, if there is at all, on the issue of the demolition of shrines. Let's go back to that. Okay. The shrines in Ikorodu. I mean, we were a bit, aghast. We were like scared for you, in particular, when we saw those demolitions.
Thank you for your concern. Thank you. And I thank Lagosians for their concern.
What has been the outcome of those demolitions so far? The people, we assume people have been arrested and all of that. What's happening with that?
You see, I always gauge actions. My feedback mechanism is based on what I receive in terms of crime statistics. Before the intelligence came concerning those shrines, we usually have cases of missing persons. At mid-year, June, July, these cases increased. Reports in various stations of missing persons. And then when I came on board, I started to track, and I discovered that intelligence led me in that direction. Families were reporting people leaving home and not returning back. But you will notice that since after that intervention, from the crime statistics, you don't hear, it's been long since we got report of missing persons. So that means that the intervention worked.
Are you ensuring that those shrines don't come up again? Don't spring up again?
I hope they don't, because I'm still here. So if I get any information again relating to such a criminal activity, definitely I will visit them. Okay,
there is an increasing number of arrests of masquerades in Lagos in different parts of the state. Yes. In fact, I watched the video where you addressed some of them and you were very angry. Yes. Tell us why that. And
I was angry because they are rogue masquerades, they are thieves, they are criminals. Masquerades are tied with the culture of the people. They don't just come out. They come out when certain celebrations take place. And they come out with the consent of the traditional rulers, the custodians of the culture and tradition of the people. Give consent to traditional rulers. So where there is no festival, where the traditional rulers have not given any consent, and then one rogue masquerade carries masquerade and starts to beat people, have followers who rob ladies of their bags and steal from people, then of course they must have the police to contend with. Lagos is fast becoming a smart city. It's a cosmopolitan city. It's
and it must be reflected in
every
aspect of our lives. Okay, so is the fear of Imohimi the beginning of wisdom? That's one question. Secondly, there was this issue about you being demoted. You want to clarify that for us so that Nigerians would
I'd rather not go there.
You don't want to go there?
Let's concentrate on
my
work.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. My first question.
Okay, well, let me take it this way.
Yes.
Of course, it's the beginning of wisdom for criminals in the States. Yes, and I'm not saying this lightly. I'm not saying this lightly. I have told my men, and the good thing is that my men are now on board with me. If you go around the state now, you see patrol vehicles at night with their revolving lights on. You see increased police visibility. You see policemen everywhere. And we are making recoveries. I did a press brief yesterday where I rolled out some of our achievements. Hoodlums, I would advise them to look for legal means of livelihood or flee the state.
Okay. So I want you to give us the hotline where Lagosians can report cases. And then is there a social media presence for the police where, because a lot happens online right now, Nigerians are very active online. In fact, many will reach the police faster than that. Okay, my producer just told us that the number is being scrolled on the screen, but is there social media presence?
Yes, of course. Our public relations department is working very, very seriously on that. And we have, the good thing is that we have received visits from stakeholders who are prepared to power that.
Okay, we might be remiss not ending this discussion.
We are trying to set up a lab for smart city policing, where that will come in at Oduduwa.
And for all of that to happen, finally, I'm sure your men who are watching you now would be like, yes, Oga wants us to be disciplined and professional. What are you doing to ensure that their welfare is, top-notch so that they can actually deliver on their job?
It has never been as good as it is today when you talk about welfare for policemen. The present Inspector General of Police, IGP Ibrahim Idris, he has promoted, promotion is another very important issue of welfare for policemen. He has promoted the largest number of policemen that I can think of in the recent past.
What about remuneration?
Salaries are being paid as at when due. The issue of delay or irregularity or unnecessary deductions has stopped. And you can see that it's reflecting in our service delivery. You can see the men now are more active.
All right. So
I'm not saying that we are Uhuru yet. Of course, this issue, this issue of welfare must continue.
All right. Thank you very much for coming to our studios. Lagos State Commissioner of Police Edgal Imohimi. It's nice talking to you.
Thank you for having you.
Thank you so much. Hope you'll oblige us again and again.
Yes.